Welcome to the Writing Gym Podcast. This is Rodney with Annalisa's Tuesday Writing Tip.
When I'm speaking at writing conferences, or sometimes when I'm checking my email and people have read Storytelling for Pantsers or listened to the Writing Gym podcast, they'll send me questions like, what's the best way to develop plot? Or what's the best way to develop character? Or how do you integrate characters from brief outlines? And those are all legitimate questions, and certainly writers should be asking these kinds of questions. And if you look for these questions on the internet, you're going to find some cookie cutter answers that will give you some basic solutions that, if you're like most writers, will ultimately end up frustrating you more than solving your problem. So today I want to talk about what the real problem is behind some solutions offered to these problems, but also behind the questions themselves. So writers come up with all kinds of questions in the process of writing a novel. That's natural, and it's natural to reach out and ask those questions. However, when you ask these questions, there's an assumption in the question that there's one right answer to every single problem that a writer can come up with in writing a novel. And that's just not true. There are some answers, and there are some better answers than others. But ultimately, what the writer needs is to find a method that works for that particular author. So my problem with the way that a lot of quote unquote experts put advice out there is to actually answer this question. So if you ask me, what's the best way to develop plot? And I tell you how Annalisa Parent develops plot when she's writing a novel, that might be helpful to you. That might be interesting, or it might not work for you at all. And if I tell you that Annalisa Parent's way is the only way to write a novel, then I have done you a major disservice, because my way to write my novels is most certainly not the right way, the only way, or anything else. It's just the way that works for me. So here's a better solution to all of these problems. How do I create plot? How do I create character? How do I use my character sketches to create interactive characters? You find your best writer. Awesome. How do I do that? Well, I can tell you how we do it over in the Writing Gym. One, we treat writers like people. And that means that we're talking about your fears. Sound a little woo-woo? Well, look, every writer that I've ever worked with, from CEOs of major American corporations all the way down to grandmas who wanted to get their memoirs out for their grandkids, were afraid of something. To get their story out, to tell it well, to tell it wrong, to tell it right, to mention this person, to not mention that person, to share it, to not share it, to have it be good, to have it be bad. I could go on for the rest of the day about things that writers are afraid of. Until we start there and talk about what's coming up for you and how the inner critic is getting in the way, we're never going to find your best writer. Once we do that and we get you on the road to confidence, then we can start to tackle the practical issues. What's the very best way that you develop plot? What's the very best way that you develop character? What's the very best way that you integrate characters from brief outlines? Forget how I do it. Forget how J.K. Rowling and Stephen King and Michael Crichton and whoever you want to name, forget how they all do it. Let's get you into creative flow. Let's get you into a place where it feels fun and easy and like something you can't wait to jump out of bed and do. Then you're in the right place. And the questions about how do I do this or how do I do that go away, because your brain is programmed. You have reprogrammed the synapses of your brain to create with you instead of working against you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Writing Gym Podcast. Full-length episodes are released every Thursday. If you like what you've heard and are interested to see if you're the right fit for the Writing Gym, here's what to do next. head to www.datewiththemuse.com/publish now and book an appointment to speak with our team. I'm Rodney Wright, one of the gym rats over at the Writing Gym, and until next time, happy writing.